What's up, y'all? It's your girl Cornelia back with another episode of Black News, a podcast where we break down current events, hot topics, and local stories involving Black people. Now let's get into it. It has been the craziest and wildest week, y'all, that I have had in a long time. It has been, hey, LA, we holding on now. We holding on. It has been the worst week and a half, two, however long this wildfire situation has been happening. But first, before I even get into that, thank you everybody for whoever checked on me, text me, called me, sent me a message. Thank y'all. I really appreciate it. It and I appreciate it because while the news can show and report what's going on, the way it looks here and the way it looks on the news can be totally different. But y'all, people have been reaching out to their friends and families in LA County, surrounding areas, or reaching out to people who aren't here and saying how bad it look on the news. This time, that's exactly how it looked. That ain't how it look in every neighborhood. But if you go to the right area, child, that fire and brimstone, that's how it look. Yep. That's how it look. These wildfires ain't no joke. I've been in Los Angeles for 14 years. Subtract 1 year, because remember I went to Sacramento, came back. And I would include Sacramento in that too. Let me just say, I'll scoop it in. I've been in California for 14 years, and I include Sacramento because they had them wildfires and they be getting them up there. I've never seen situations this bad. Yes, I've seen where you drive down the freeway and there's a wildfire and it look like it's billowing flames on each side of you. I know people who have lost homes before and fires and it burnt up different areas of the county or in surrounding counties, but I have never seen it like this. This is the worst. So let me kind of give some perspective. It's one thing for like a hurricane or a tornado. You know there's a tornado warning and there's a hurricane warning. You don't know when there's a wildfire or an earthquake coming. So imagine, because there was a lot of factors that went into this. One, there were two huge fires, but at one point on one particular day, whether it was Wednesday or Thursday, there were 7 fires. Now that is literally insane. That's insane. But imagine you are in a neighborhood just, doing what you're doing and something catches fire. I think people they're still trying to figure out where the wildfire started, but it could be as small as a cigarette. It could be a campfire. It could be fireworks. It could be a power line. It don't matter. One thing catches fire. And because we don't get rain and our weather is really dry here, it's easy for fire to spread because the ground ain't wet, ain't no moisture. Everything is flammable. Coupled by for the last week or so, we've been dealing with what's called Santa Ana winds, where the winds are between 60 and 100 miles per hour. Now, I know hearing that sound crazy or unrealistic, but when I tell you the winds was pushing over semi trucks on the freeway. So if a small fire catches and it's growing because of the dryness, and the winds are blowing it, hurricane winds blowing the fire, embers start to travel and the fire spreads very quickly. Those situations are what was happening. But then when you think about the biggest fires, that's how fast it was and why you see people on the news saying they didn't have time to grab anything, because the fire was literally rolling, 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 rolling down the hill. So you have that. You also have a few neighborhoods that weren't expecting it, right? Like you expect certain things here, and yes, there's risk. But when you think about Altadena, which is a historic Black middle class town, very culturally diverse, Altadena is in the valley, but it's east. Again, near Pasadena. And this is an important area, especially for Black people, because Altadena was one of the only areas out here where Black people weren't redlined. So Black Pasadena had a huge Black presidents. Jackie Robinson lived in Pasadena. It's historic. You meet a lot of old black families in LA. A lot of times they're from Pasadena. You also see and meet people from Altadena because, again, people could move and buy land and buy homes, beautiful plots of land because they weren't redlined and they had more opportunity. Child, that burned down. So you have thousands of people and businesses displaced. Historic homes, y'all know California homes don't look like regular houses. There's a certain styles, craftsman, and it's very specific to just the feel of LA. You can't get that back. That is gone. So, hearing reports of people who were sleeping because a lot of this happened at night, the nighttime, where you get an evacuation notice, you are waking up, you look and you can see people were saying they could see the fire billowing down the hill towards them. People had minutes to get out and evacuate. And when you got a minute or two, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you don't know what to grab. You really don't know what's important to you until you have to grab something. That's why people don't have stuff. They didn't have time. Same in the Palisades in Malibu. It's just overall traumatizing. And I say this as someone who was in a pocket of LA County that has been under weather watch, that is adjacent to fires, who know people who are direct paths, who have lost all of their homes. I didn't realize how many people I knew who had family homes in Altadena and Malibu just completely gone. And it's not just celebrities, because you know you see all crowd all everywhere people like the celebrities are losing out. Girl, child, this is regular people. They're usually living $1 million homes. Y'all, a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bathroom house could be $1.2 million depending on where you are. That don't mean the house is super fancy. That's just how much property value has increased. I know people who bought houses out here for 400,000. Now it's over $1 million. But it's just a regular house. And it don't matter how much it's worth, how much you pay for. People their whole lives were in these houses. People lost their cars, gone. Family, people are dead. So it's just been a lot to process. Honestly, it's been very traumatizing. I'm going to read what I've said, what I posted on social media, so y'all can kind of get an idea of like the perspective and what I've been thinking. One thing I posted, I said, whether you're in an evacuation zone or not, house burned down or not, watching and waiting or not, this has been the most devastating and anxiety fueled week for everyone in LA County. One day you good, the next you're minutes from complete chaos and trauma, insanity. Like you literally right now, like let's take for example right now when I'm recording this podcast. Apparently the Santa Ana winds are going to pick back up in the middle of the night and early tomorrow morning. So while I'm doing this, I'm simultaneously repacking my to-go bags, trying to figure out what it is that I need and don't need, putting stuff in the car, preparing, trying to not scare myself into thinking I'm going to sleep through an evacuation notice. Because you got to, if it's in the middle of the night, baby, you got to hear that. Right? You got to hear it. Hoping that my friends are not affected and that we don't lose our livelihoods and our lives. Another thing that I said, because people, and we all have been guilty of this. We see something happening, we hear somebody going through something, and we be like, if I was doing that, I would be doing this. If I was there, I would be doing this. If I was there, I'd be doing this. And in this case, I have gotten a couple text calls or just messages of people, not many, but enough for me to be annoyed. People saying, if I was there, I would be doing this. If I was there, I would be. If you was here, you wouldn't be doing shit. Your motherfucking ass wouldn't be doing nothing. If you were here, you wouldn't be doing nothing. Knock it off. The only time I would take that comment seriously if it was relation to volunteering. That's the only time. Otherwise, I don't want to hear what you be doing about evacuating. I don't want to hear what you be doing about hosing your house down. I don't want to hear what you be doing about where you going, who you would have saved. I don't want to hear none of that. In the post that I said in that regards to that, I said people not currently in LA. Do not call people in the city and tell them what you be doing if you were here dealing with these fires. Because the reality is, if you were on the ground right now, you wouldn't be doing shit. Child, you wouldn't be doing nothing. So please don't call anybody and say that unless you want to get cussed out. But on the flip side, it has been really beautiful to see how many people have stepped up, chipped in, donated, and been just jumping into action. Right? Because LA get a bad rep. People think LA is just this super Hollywood town and everybody's so cold, which I forget. The majority of people out here got native roots. LA natives are different from transplants. And even transplants be having a lot of heart because you come out here literally with a dollar and a dream. You know how many people out here struggling to make it. So that does come with a lot of heart that people overlook or disrespect. Whether it's setting up volunteer centers, going out to volunteer themselves. You got people who are helping to clean up. You got lawyers who are volunteering because y'all know, hey, they're gonna be preying on people's land now. Same what they did for Hurricane Katrina. You got inmates who are out here fighting the fires. It's just so many aspects and so much going on. And it's good to see people donating. Child, I done donated to I don't know how many GoFundMe's. There's a master list of the Black families in Altadena that have been affected. I went through the list and I picked a few people who were under a certain percentage because it tells you how many percentage, like how far towards their goal they've reached. And I wasn't able to donate much because I want to donate to a lot of people, but every little bit helps. So I encourage you all to do that as well because people, like, you literally lost everything. You have to literally start over from scratch. And there's no guarantee what insurance gonna cover because y'all also been hearing on the news, which is correct. Some insurance companies have canceled people's fire insurance. Everybody ain't gonna get paid out. Some people gonna be left to fend for themselves. So just donate however you can. And yes, every neighborhood matters, but I'm really sensitive to Altadena because y'all know how hard it is for Black people to build generational wealth. And for an entire town with so much history and culture to be destroyed, and me knowing people personally whose families have lost, it's just, I just can't. So whatever y'all can do, please do it. But another thing that's happening is the amount of disinformation that's being spread about the situation. We got a Black mayor, Black woman mayor. And immediately, without any context, any backstory, without any information, verified, nothing, people jumped on social media and started criticizing our mayor. First, she was in Ghana for the new year. So when the fires first broke out, she was not in the city. People, why does the mayor in LA have to go to Ghana? What is she doing? Y'all, people can't take vacation. I'm sorry. I did not know that when you get a job, you can't use your vacation days. Every Black person with a little money and some connections go to Ghana for Daddy December. She can't go and network for Daddy December. She can't go and try to bring Black business to the city of Los Angeles. So first they was getting mad at her and talking crazy. Then they started talking about how there were budget cuts and due to that, that's why the fires weren't able to be put out because the fire department didn't have any resources, which was proven to be incorrect or inaccurate information, which was also spread by the female fire chief who was also simultaneously getting dragged and called a DEI hire. So they were able to fact check that. They were also starting to fact check the fact that Karen Bass is the mayor of LA. She ain't the mayor of certain cities. So while people were dragging her and talking about her inaction or what she did and didn't do, there wasn't a peep towards the people who were actually running other parts of this region. There's a LA County fire chief, a man. What nobody we ain't hear from him till today. We ain't hear from him till today. So the problem with this and what we've noticed, and I've seen this, y'all know whenever something go bad or something happen, y'all know who be the first to be blamed. We're also in an era where people don't know how to verify information. They literally don't know. They think if they see it somewhere, that's the verification. It must be true because I'm seeing it. So they take it and run with it. We also have platforms, Facebook, X, Threads, we have all of these places where people can spread misinformation and there's no checks and balances and no safeguards because we just saw what Mark Zuckerberg said about taking off like the verifications or fact checking off of Facebook. Y'all know Elon Musk is running the algorithm behind X where it is a it is a conservative and right wing platform. X is a cesspool of misinformation and psychoticness, if that's even a word. So it is easy for things to be shared and spread without even having to verify or confirm. Hence, Mayor Karen Bass being put in a ridiculous spot. Now, after this, we got so much going on in LA. There's the soccer, there's the Olympics. There is physically no way possible for them to build back all of these different areas that may be a part of those events before 2028. I just don't see how it can happen. But even with that, and how people they don't care about leadership. They just want white people at the helm. Karen Bass, I don't see her getting reelected. We're gonna be back to square one. And y'all know what people Cali is blue, but it's creeping on the come up. Okay, it's changing. So I wouldn't be surprised if our next mayor and governor is wearing the red hat. But with that, let me play a clip that was going viral, and it was from the LA County fire chief. Finally came out and started speaking because for the last couple days and week, he was letting all the women get dragged and get called DEI hires. But let me play this to explain the situation and what we dealing with. Because a lot of this whole time people were saying, why couldn't they do this? Why was this happening? What was this? Why didn't this happen? Their water pressure. Wasn't no water. They ran out of water. Ain't no firefighters. Let me just note this and get back to it. But also before I even play it, and I don't remember he mentioning if he does perfect. A lot of the work in wildfires out here has to be aerial support. Y'all see they on the news they had the super scoopers, the ones picking up water from the basins and dumping water over the fires. That is the largest assault. The ones on the ground are doing like and they beating back the fires. They not in the middle of the fire putting water on it. That's pointless. It's mainly an aerial attack. One, you can't put large amounts of salt water on land because it ruins the land for like stuff can't grow. But also with Santa Ana winds going 60 to 100 miles per hour, you cannot fly. So that is another reason why the fires spread the way that they did because they were grounded. They could not drop water from up top. So let me play this real quick and then we'll discuss.
The people were complaining that there wasn't enough water or wasn't enough water pressure. Was that a factor?
So the water system was stretched. Metropolitan water systems are not designed to sustain a firefight like this. Your viewers can't expect a municipal water system to supply enough firefighting water to extinguish every one of these houses. That's unrealistic.
Did you have enough resources? Did you have enough firefighters? Did you have enough fire engines?
No. And there's not enough fire engines for this.
Ordinarily, for one house like this, you might have three or four
fire engines. We think we've lost 8,000 structures. So times 3 fire engines each, that requires 26,000 fire engines. I don't think the state of California has 26,000 fire engines. That could be at one place right now.
Your firefighters, your resources, everything overwhelmed.
Absolutely overwhelmed.
The amount of resources that it would have taken to get this fire under control is something that we just don't have and wouldn't have. Like he said, you wouldn't have 26,000 fire engines in LA County, let alone the state. Driving up and down the highway, you can see fire trucks here driving from different counties, different states, different cities. I've seen some Nevada trucks. I've seen some sack fire trucks. They're coming from all over. I even saw on social media the Colorado trucks coming, Idaho, driving all the way to help because we are tapped. Child, Gavin Newsom done got the super scoopers from Quebec, Canada, and some firefighters from Mexico. And let me say, shout out to Gavin Newsom. You know how stressful it must be to be dealing with this as a governor, but you know how connected you have to be able to reach out or even make the call and get convince people to help you, people to help that have been made public enemy number 1 by certain people within this country. So as California and the governor with if you're going to be the governor of California, you need to maintain relationships with people outside of here, specifically Mexico and in this example Canada. So I don't know if Gavin Newsom made the calls or if Joe Biden them made the calls, but shout out to whoever did because child the Mexican firefighters done came through and the Quebec super scoopers. But I say all this to say it's going to be a long road. I will keep y'all updated on the happenings of this week because we are not out of the clear. It's going to pick back up tonight and we don't know what's going to happen. We're just at the mercy of the wind and the fires. I am so thankful for firefighters. Child, at one point they was out here. I was like, they out here getting to it. Y'all give me the fire suit. Let's get it. Let's get suited up. Let's go. Let's go. Like they out here really in the field. Like if you are watching LA local news, you know how they show the clips of the firefighters. They are scaling mountainside, chopping down debris with gear and axes and shit on their back and a hose in their hand. Like I'm talking about they out here getting busy. I have nothing but respect for firefighters. They out here doing it. Again, continue to support your friends and family who are out in LA, this in this area. We going through it, even if we're not, if our stuff isn't devastated, we still stressed out. We are stressed. So keep praying for us. Keep donating. Keep sending your well wishes, and I'm gonna do my best to keep y'all updated. But if y'all have any news or anything worth sharing, or anything that I should mention as far as donation or helping people, let me know. Okay, let me know. You can hit me up. You can find me at Canelia on social media. I'm recording this the day before whatever it is that Beyonce is announcing. It is the day before. I'm recording this the day before whatever it is that Beyonce announcing. Sis did the Beyonce Bowl down to the Netflix. Said on the 14th of January she got some for us. It is now the 14th of January. Is it gonna be at midnight? Is it gonna be midday? I don't know what to expect. And I've learned not to think my predictions are accurate because ain't none of us ever been right. Now, Beyonce is she plugged in. You know, I think she got a burner account. She be looking, she be lurking. And her team is too. So I'm not 100% sure in light of what's going on with the wildfires that her announcement, and I say this as a prediction or just assuming, because again, I don't know nothing, allegedly, whatever. I'm wondering if she's pivoting from the announcement that she was going to give and change it to something else. And I only say that because Beyonce, as y'all know, she damned if she do, damned if she don't. She donated $2.5 million. Her foundation Be Good today towards the wildfire victims and relief. Child, they was on social media mad. Why she only donated $2.5 million and she's a billionaire. First of all, she's not a billionaire. Second, you didn't donate shit. So she can't even give a little money. And considering her mama, Miss Tina's house burned down. Her mama house burned down in Malibu. So she can't even help out without people criticizing. So a part of me wonders or thinks or is questioning if she's announcing or was gonna announce something where we would have to spend money like a tour or something. Will she pivot and change? Would she pivot and change? Or how are they going to handle people talking about that in light of this? Because while LA is on fire, the rest of the world isn't. So if it is something where it's going to cost, it's not, everybody else is good. right? Everybody else is good. And given the fact that next week we about to have to deal with inauguration, baby, I'm hoping it's something that we can vibe out to. I hope it's some music because I need some. Okay, I need some. But I'm wondering if this is going to have any effect on whatever that is. People were predicting that it's a new album. They're saying it's a rock album. People were predicting that it's a tour announcement. People were saying that she gonna be at Houston the rodeo this year, and it's gonna be that type of thing. So people were saying she gonna be doing Stagecoach the festival. People were saying that I don't know if I just said the visuals. They said it's the visuals. There's all kinds of speculation. Some people said it was Renaissance movie. I don't think so because the font on the announcement, the one fit 14, was different from Act 1. So honestly, child, I don't know what it is. I do know I did put a little money aside in case I gotta buy me a ticket to a concert. If it's an album, I got Apple Music and I'm gonna buy that album so I can own it. It's about ownership. Some things that I have predicted over the last few months. At one point, I thought she was going to announce after the Beyonce ball the live Renaissance album and finally upload the movie, the Renaissance movie, because listen, she can't drop that movie unless she simultaneously drops the live album because the weirdos on the internet gonna rip the audio and do a live album for her. They weird, okay? They weird online. That was one prediction I had. Another prediction I had, whether it was then or now, y'all know they stopped doing Made in America Festival. They've been postponing it. A part of me was like, oh, I think they're going to repurpose Made in America for a country festival and focus on Black artists and do multiple days, maybe multiple weekends. That way, it shines some light on all of the Black country artists. It put some money in their pocket. It also gives multiple days or multiple weekends so people can fly in to see Beyonce, because if she do a one show somewhere, who gonna get to see this? That's not enough tickets. Okay, those aren't enough seats. Okay, they're not enough seats. I also wonder, it's music awards weekend. I'm wondering if whatever she's doing is to shine more light onto Cowboy Carter, because I honestly don't think Beyonce cares about winning anything for her. I think she wants to win certain things so that some of the artists, like the Linda Martells, can get awards. I think she wants them to have something. So I'm wondering if it's something that'll, continue that music legacy thing and push and quest that she's been on. Either way, child, it's coming, and I don't know what it's to expect. I'm a support. So, hey, I'm a support. But let me know what y'all predictions are. Okay. What do y'all think tomorrow is? And I say that because, and again, let me say this one more time. I'm recording this podcast the day before the announcement. So let me change it. I won't say what are y'all predictions, because by the time y'all hear this, it ain't gonna matter. What were your predictions before today, the day you listening to this? And were you correct or incorrect? Was it something that you thought, or was it completely different from what you expected? Let me know. You can find me at Canelia on social media. On this week's episode of Black News, we talked about the LA wildfires, what's happening here in the city, in ways that you can help people of Palisades and Altadena. We also talked about the Beyonce announcement that's happening on 1/14/25 and if your predictions were actually correct. Hit me up. Let me know your thoughts about all of these topics, some or none, and I'll check back with you guys next time. That's it for this week's episode of Black News, y'all. Thanks again for supporting the podcast by sharing, liking, subscribing, and rating 5 stars on your favorite podcast app. To find more information about me, you can check me out at Cornelia on social media, as well as on my website, which is cornelia.com. And as always, thanks for supporting, and I'll be back next week with new topics and a new episode.